Hello, everyone, and welcome back or welcome to the Introspective Diaries. I am Nana Hasia, and if you're new here, this channel is all about healing, faith, spirituality, and embodying your God given identity. So, this video is about healing through energetic and spiritual stagnation, going through what this means and the methods that you can take into your own hands to easily use, to easily employ to get rid of energetic stagnation, to free yourselves from psychic attacks, from energetic projections. So, first and foremost, it's very important to realize that you cannot trick spirituality, you cannot trick God, right? And the reason why we go through a lot of struggles, we go through a lot of hardships and trials, is so that we can be purified spiritually, physically, emotionally, energetically. So if you are resisting the change that God wants you to go through, then you need to understand that using methods such as energy healing tools, whatever they may be, that you are just going to find yourself in a loop, right? Because God is calling you to go on a journey so He can help deliver you from certain things. God is asking you to introspect, to go through the discomfort, to go through the hurdles, right? So that He can purify you in a much more longer lasting way. So spiritual bypassing or using methods, whether that's candles, incense, whatever methods that you may want to use without putting in the work in the 3D, sorry to break it to you, but it's just going to keep you in a loop. Okay, your progress is going to be stagnated, and this is because what you do in the 3D, the actions you take in the physical realm, directly affects what happens in the spiritual realm in your dream state, right? So if you are engaging in habits that are not serving your highest good, if you are neglecting the calls of the Most High, if you are choosing to ignore the dysfunction, your shadows, you can do all the energy healing you want, you can use all the methods, the spiritual methods that you want, you are still going to find yourself in that loop, right? Because your behavior, your mindset, your state, your spiritual state has to be purified so you can be elevated. So nothing that I'm going to say here or any other advice you'll find elsewhere is going to be a kind of one-time fix that's gonna kind of release you from everything. Spiritual development is, it's about development and it's holistic, right? It's about your lifestyle, it's about your hobbies, it's about your mindset, it's about your actions, and it's also about the spiritual methods that God wants you to use to further heal yourself. So spiritual or energetic healing is supplementary and not to replace shadow work. It's not to replace the inner work that you have to do to release yourself of strongholds. So that's the preface, right? It's very, very important. So the first tip I have for you is to assess your state, assess your energetic state by yourself, right? What energies have you been feeling recently? What has been your state of mind and your state of being? Are you always anxious? Are you always stressed? Do you find yourselves in overthinking loops, right? Do you constantly find yourself that you're trying to overthink yourself out of situations? Do you find that you are just feeling heavier emotions? Looking at your dream state is also very, very important. And I will say it here and I'll say it anywhere that sometimes the difference between the life that you want and the life that you're currently living in, or sometimes the difference between life and death, could be in you ignoring your dreams, ignoring the signs that the Most High is giving you, that your ancestors are giving you, that your spiritual team are giving you, right? Because you do not need to have any special spiritual powers to have access to this. We all have intuition, we all have people who care about us. The Most High loves all of us. So we are provided with these free insights into the unseen realms through dreams, right? Everybody dreams. Most people dream. So paying attention to your dream state, what are you doing? How are you feeling? Who are you with? What's the lighting like in there? Do you even remember your dreams? These are all things that should be of utmost importance to you when you are trying to develop not only spiritually, but you're trying to develop in life. You're trying to progress in life, right? Allow yourself to reflect on what you are seeing in the dream state, and allow yourselves to not be scared by what you see, but allow it to be a guide for you. Okay. So this is going to actually tell you what it is that you need to work on, because oftentimes we are given, like I said, insight into unseen realms, into the future, and sometimes into the past, right? You are traveling in different spaces, and through this, the Most High can give you insight and guidance into your own energetic and spiritual states. Use it. Okay, you do not need to go to anyone to look at anything for you. What I am saying here on this channel is for spiritual empowerment for everyone to stand in their own power, right? You don't need any special people to look into things for you unless you want them to. You can actually look at things yourself by taking what you are seeing in a dream state and analyzing it, right? If you would like to work with me to develop this, then feel free to book a session with me in the description box below. My website is linked. So moving on from this, the first thing that I will say is stepping into your power and embodying your power. This, even if you choose to ignore everything else, is going to be your biggest weapon against spiritual warfare, against stagnant energies, psychic attacks, all of that, right? Because the enemy feeds on fear. When you are scared, when you are looking at yourself as powerless, this is what gives the enemy access into your energy, into your mind, right? Because you think that there's nothing you can do. You think that, woe is me. What am I going to do now? And the enemy loves that, right? Because God has given us so much power within ourselves as individuals, and especially if you're someone who is also spiritually gifted, stand in it, right? And by if you want to tap into your power, you need to understand that first of all, we all have this ability, we all have the capacity to fight our own battles, right, with the Most High and with our ancestors that are guiding us. Stand in your power. When you shrink energetically, you are giving the enemy space to come into your life. When you walk around feeling small, dimming your light, you are actually making it easy for the enemy to have access to you. And this is something the Most High revealed to me, right? When I had a dream where there was someone who was being intimidated by another person, right? And the moment this person stepped up, right, into their energy, they stepped up into their God-given identity, right, by just mere physical, this was just through like standing up, right, standing more upright, the opponent shrunk, right? The opponent shrunk. And this is because the enemy and the people he sends to attack you rely on your consent to be attacked. The enemy and the people they send to attack you rely on your consent to be attacked. And you consent by making yourself small. You consent by dimming your light. You consent by refusing to step into the God-given identity the Most High has endowed you with, right? And you will find that, trust me, when you begin to step into your God-given identity and you begin to acknowledge and utilize your power, you will find that in your dream state, you are conquering people and things far more easier. Okay, this is one of the biggest tricks that, and it's so simple, right? But it's something that a lot of us are unaware of. And moving on from this, right? Now that we've done the behavioral stuff, we've done the mindset stuff, right? It's, learning to shift energies and alchemize energies is very, very important, especially if you are someone who is trying to heal through trauma. You're someone who is going through an ego death, the dark night of the soul, where all the things that you thought defined you are burnt to the ground. All the illusions and lies that you've lived your life by are burnt to the ground, and it's scary, but it's also liberating. You learn the truth about who you actually are and about other people, but mostly you and your identity. That your identity is no longer dependent on the things that you've internalized, the traumas, the lies, the illusions that you've internalized, right? But during this period in your life, there will be resistance, because when the ego is dying, the ego likes to attach itself to things, right? So it's kind of like trying to rip something apart that's been glued together for a certain amount of time. It's going to hurt, there's going to be resistance, and especially if this is someone that has whatever habits, mindsets, and whatever that you've been getting rid of through your ego death, through the dark night of the soul, you will essentially you understand that sometimes these things have had a stronghold on you for a long time, sometimes for years. Sometimes this goes all the way back to your lineage, your family lineage, things that people have had to deal with, right? It's not the most pleasant experience. So during this time, the enemy will also try to send in a lot of attacks, and the enemy will try to exacerbate your shadow and your illusions. These are all kind of tactics to get you to either throw in the towel and be like, I don't think this is worth it anymore. Maybe it's just good when I was kind of living through my subconscious all the time. Well, maybe life was better when I was just kind of coasting through life, being led by my subconscious. But trying to go into my shadow and do all of this work, it's bringing me so much, so many things that I didn't expect. This is all part of the enemy's tactics, right? And like I said, especially if these are strongholds that have been placed on your life by the enemy and his team to try to get you to act out of character, to try to get you to act out of the way that the Most High has willed for you. This is all spiritual warfare. Energy healing is important because then projections come through your dream state, through your sleep state. There's projections. How do we get rid of this? How do we make this better? The one thing I will recommend is doing a burn and release. I learned this from Shabi Zaini here on YouTube. I will always give credit where credit is due. And a burn and release is essentially when you write whatever energetic state you want to get rid of, or whatever kind of stronghold you want to get rid of, whatever kind of mindset you want to get rid of, right? You write it on paper and you say that, on the paper, you say that, and this thing, whatever it may be, is destroyed in spirit and in flesh. You can also add, and in all states, sleep or awake, right? Because when you are getting rid of things, when you are getting rid of strongholds, you want to get rid of it in both the spiritual realm and the physical realm, right? Hence the spirit and the flesh bit. And you want to write this on white plain paper. I usually do it with a black pen. You burn it, and then you either let the ashes go through a window, or you can just let everything kind of dissolve and wash away in some water in a sink or something, right? Do this regularly, and this will help you significantly, because fire is transformative. Fire changes something from one state to another. Fire is purifying, okay? And before any of you start to say, oh my god, what is this, crazy stuff, this is so unorthodox, blah, 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 that's completely fine and that's your opinion. But know that nature and resources was given to us by the Most High to use, right? There is nothing in this world that is inherently evil unless we make it so. Money isn't evil, okay? Using nature to heal wounds and to heal spiritual wounds is not evil. Using herbs to heal is not evil, right? Using calories to heal is not evil. These are all things that we've been gifted by the Most High. It all depends on how we use it. And it's up for us to decolonize our minds and to listen to what the Most High is telling us, right? So doing a burn and release regularly, every day if you need to, is something that I would recommend to burn away those energies. Do it constantly. And sometimes something that you could do is when you pay attention to your dream state and you see something in a dream that maybe you're not too happy with, burn and release. Burn and release. All right? Just burn and release. And this is a tool that I think is very, very indispensable. The next tip that I have for you is having regular communication with the divine. Of course, the Most High will hear your prayers wherever you are, but there is something very, very unique about having a setup, maybe a room, a part of your room that you dedicate to communicating with the Most High, your own little prayer space, right? And make sure that this place is clean, that it smells good, that it has, it has things that will attract positive energies, whether that's incense, candles, white candles, right? Having this altar space is very important because you are leaving essentially like an energetic imprint on this place that you create, where the Most High recognizes, okay, when so and so goes there, they mean business, and we're gonna listen to whatever they're saying even more, right? Having this space is very, very important. Having this altar space is very important to go to ensure that you are connecting with the earth elements, the wind elements, the fire elements. You're connecting with the Most High. You're asking the Most High to intervene on parts of your life. This is very, very important. And I recommend this. I recommend you do this, especially whenever you feel you need to you need to really tap into to really get rid of some energies, but also tap into a higher state of inner peace. That's what I recommend. And those are the main three things I have for this video. So like I said, we do not do spiritual bypassing over here. Here we work on ourselves, on our mindsets, on our behavior. We do not diminish our power, right? You are powerful. You have everything in you. You have what it takes to work with the Most High, to free yourself of whatever it may be. Burn and release, shifting energetic states. Fire is used during alchemy. Use it. And having a prayer space, a prayer altar that's dedicated to your special time with the Most High. So that's all that I have for this video. If you would like to work with me one-on-one to develop these skills, to develop your spiritual awareness, feel free to book a session with me. The link to my website is linked in the description box below, and I will see you in the next video. Feel free to subscribe, leave a lovely warm comment if you wish, and give this video a like.